Hey everybody, Nick here, and today I got a review for you of this very interesting little guy right here. This is the Nitecore TM10K 10,000 lumens flashlight. So first off though, I want to thank very much my buddy Paul. Paul actually loaned this guy to me. He got this as a gift and then realized it wasn't quite for him. He said, "Hey Nick, do you want to check this guy out?" I said, "You know what, that's weird. Sure, I'll take a look." And I'm glad I did. I ended up making the purchase from him afterwards, but it is absolutely an odd duck, and I never would have thought about it otherwise, so thank you very much for that, Paul. Next thing, let's do a size comparison right here. I mean, first off, Spidicodelica, as per tradition for the channel. So you can see, size-wise, we're actually in a very similar domain, although certainly a lot thicker. Next one, here it is against an 18650 battery, an RCR 123 battery. Here it is against the TAC D25A, the ThruNite Neutron 2C, the ThruNite TC20 right here. And here it is against another completely absurd flashlight. This is the Olight X7R Marauder. And so you can see here that these guys are, well, this is a good bit bigger. But there actually are a lot of similarities in other domains. So there's your size comparison. Then finally, Nitecore. Nitecore is a company I've reviewed actually a fair number of things from. They do some pretty interesting work in the flashlight domain, and particularly in the sort of non-traditional flashlight domain. What I mean by that, in designs that are a little bit weird, that are a little bit outside the norm. They are not a company that seems content making tube lights. So that's kind of cool. So anyways, let's go on ahead and jump into the good, the great, the bad, the ugly of this very weird little flashlight right here. So on the good side to start with, there are some nice luxury features here, so to speak. You've got yourself a lanyard hole. And it's actually drilled through and through, and it's full size. You can pass, looks like you could probably get some paracord through there if you wanted to, and that's kind of cool. I appreciate them giving that. A lanyard hole, especially on a flashlight that's a bigger size like this, that is a nice detail. Next thing, this is water resistant, impact resistant, as a lot of modern flashlights are, but that's nice. Next thing, it tail stands. Oh yeah, look at that tail standing. Holy crap, that tail standing is real. So, there you go, that's good. Next thing, this uses USB-C charging. Here, I'll see if I can pop this off. Unfortunately, it's a little tricky to get this damn rubber flap peeled back. You can use the USB charger pretty effectively to do it, but you want some kind of tool if you don't keep long nails. But anyways, we can see right here, this is a USB-C port. And when you plug in a USB, it'll say on the little display up on the top here, turn that down a little bit, it'll say right here, it is charging. It'll give you the battery current levels, as well as the, the current battery levels, not battery current, that's a different thing. But you can see here, it gives a little bit of information for you, and that's actually great. It's nice to have that and to know how long it's going to be until you finish charging. And frankly, rechargeable flashlights are the future. I'm done with weird battery types that you're putting into weird chargers. No, it's over. Next thing, this has two different flavors of lockout mode. This guy has, if you hold down this button, it's gone into lockout number 1. So lockout number 1 means that if I hit this button, or either of these two buttons that generally turn the light on, not a damn thing happens. It just says lockout 1. However, if I use this tail button triggers the turbo mode. Watch. Oh yeah. I still got some turbo out of it after a little bit of there's a slight delay there. So what this basically means is you can have this guy in your pocket and not worry too much about jostling it around, but you can also pull it out and very quickly illuminate something with the power of 1,000 freaking suns or something along those lines. And then to unlock this guy, all you need to do is hold that down. You press it once, then you hold it down for a little while. It gives you the unlock thing. Then the second unlock mode locks out all of the buttons. And it's a little bit safer still. So that's definitely cool. I like having software lockouts on these kinds of things, and especially one that's relatively well done. This one requires you to press and then again very quickly, or quickly hold down. That's a little harder to accidentally do, especially given the fact that you can't really turn this guy on by pressing down on these buttons anyways, because they got the raised collar. So that's good. Well, pressing down accidentally against them. So that's nice. Next thing, this guy has a programmable set of options. Right now, it is set up such that level 1 is 3 lumens, level 2 is 100, level 3 is 300, level 4 is 1,000 lumens. Now, this is sort of a good overall design and a nice overall spacing. However, you can, if you want to, set the high to be 2,000 lumens. You do face some thermal step-down issues, so unless you're living in the Arctic freaking tundra, you're going to have to worry about heat with that, but nevertheless, you can customize customize some of the settings to your heart's freaking content. That's nice. Next thing, it does have this little display. Now, okay, this display, is this a good idea? Is this a gimmick? I don't know. You know what? It works, though, because what it's doing right here is I'm on the lowest setting right here, where it's just using 2 of the 6 diodes. But what it does when you turn that on is, you'll see here, it starts off by telling you the setting. It gives you the battery voltage, gives you a graphical representation, then it gives you the overall time it's going to run for. Here, I just switched settings. And this is actually a nice estimate. So it's giving me at the medium mode, I've got more than 9 hours. And by the way, right now, this light could use a charge. Well, not could use. But it's definitely, it's had better charge in the past. Let's put it that way. Gets up to like 4.2, I want to say, volts. Anyways, so we can see here that we get some rough estimates of how long it's going to take, as well as the temperature of the not sensor, of the emitter over there. So I like the display. And coupled with the charging thing, is it a gimmick? Yes. Is it a useful one? Yes, that too. So I like the display. Next thing, this guy has, as a result, very easy battery status to read. And frankly, it's nice to know what kind of estimate, because if we go up to your turbo, well, this isn't turbo, this is the high mode, what it'll tell us is how long that'll take. And right now it's saying we've got around an hour and a half with that. Yeah, about an hour and a half on that. And you know what? This kind of gives me a nice reminder. It's a memento battery mori, if you will. So that's helpful. Then finally, actually not finally. Next thing, this guy has a very nice mix of spotty and floody. If I put this guy over the table, what we can see here is there is a central brighter region, but at the same time, there is a fair amount of light dispersal. This really is good for lighting up an entire area in front of you, and you can kind of imagine that given the optics that we've got here. But still, this is absolutely a very, I don't even know how to put it, but it's actually a very nice, for my sort of floody-centric life. I tend to do, if I'm doing sort of outdoors flashlight tasks, I tend to be wanting to light up an area that's pretty adjacent to me, rather than I'm doing a lot of throwy stuff. If you are a search and rescue sort of individual, this is not going to be your best choice, but if you are just an everyday jackass, I do like this light pattern a fair amount. I think it's a very useful one, and you've got enough brightness here that you can afford to light up an area. So that's good. And then finally, on the good side, this guy has a big old clip on it, and it's actually a usable clip. It's got plenty of space on there. You can ramp this over a large belt thing, but you can also just throw it in your back pocket. And a lot of times that I've carried it, I've done just that. I'll just clip it in the back pocket there. And because, by the way, all of the buttons are located on the sides and on the back there, half the time I don't even use lockout. So, I like very much the overall clip and the carryability. This is a heavy little beast, oh my god, but it is also actually a lot more carryable than you might expect. I mean, if we look at it in terms of overall width here, we can see that we are not so far off the width of, like, the ThruNite Neutron here. So, you are paying a price in weight, and certainly, but the thing is, compactness-wise, this is not a huge light. It's not so much more costly, so to speak, to carry one of these guys as it is to carry something like that. I mean, it's certainly going to be thicker than your AA lights, but still, yeah. So I like very much the carryability here. And so to me, that's what's good, is that it's a nice usable clip that is surprisingly carryable for one of these biggie brick lights. And it's certainly more so than something like this, which is really hard to throw in a pocket. Next thing, this is, like I said, it's got a good mix of spot and flood. The display is a gimmick, but it's a useful gimmick. It has programmable options, 2 flavors of lockout, USB-C charging, tail standing, oh, loud-ass seagull. I thought, oh, God, is that a fire alarm? No, it's a seagull. Guys, I'm still adjusting to the California way of life here. So there you go. And then finally it has a lanyard hole. Sorry. Alrighty, on the great side, this thing puts out a stupid amount of light. Oh my god. Now look, this has a 10,000 lumen mode. Now, I don't have a lumen meter. We probably should assume there's some exaggeration in here. However, this is really ridiculously crazy freaking bright. This is absolutely absurdly bright. You get 10,000 lumens when you hold down this top-bottom switch here. And that is an insane amount of light, completely and totally. It is an amount of light that seems bright in the daytime. Now, the thing is, you get about 10 seconds. That's an important detail here. It will basically it heats right up when you when you go into turbo mode here. You can see here, there's a little countdown timer, and that's, I think, till the unit's destruction. But even just running it for that long, the front of this thing is heated way up. And as a result, this is actually a pretty good hand warmer if you're ever in that kind of a situation, too. But nevertheless, this puts out a stupid amount of light when that happens. It's really hard to explain, and people always ask, Nick, why don't you do beam shots? Why aren't you going outside and showing this off? Well, I film with a smartphone. The light, it doesn't really result in good results anyways when I do that. So, unfortunately, yeah, that's not great. However, what I can say is that impressionistically, this thing is ridiculously bright. Like, I turned this on, and my wife was in the other room. I turned this on, pointed up at the ceiling in the living room. My wife was in the other room and said, honey, what the hell is that light? Oh, my God. I said, that's a flashlight. She said, no. I said, yep. It's crazy. And so you get a really, really strong burst mode. It's only 10 seconds, but look, I mean, that's about as much, I don't know, unless you're out there doing search and rescue, this is going to be more than fine. And what you're trying to do that is to illuminate an area to get a quick look at a region or something like that. This is more than fine, and frankly, it's really cool. But you also get other relatively good brightness and other things too. For instance, this has a 1000 lumen high in the default setting there, and 1000 lumens is pretty serious. I mean, for a light like this, that is the turbo mode. That is the one that it steps down for. But this one absolutely runs there for an hour. It's 2.5 hours on the max charge is what they're saying. In the middle range, you're at 300 lumens, you get 7 hours. Low range, 100 lumens, 14 hours. And then you get a 3-lumen ultra-low setting, which is kind of, I mean, it's fine. And that can be useful in its own way. But look, the great thing about this is, holy crap, the amount of light this thing can put out is just inconceivable to me. I say this every damn time, but it's like I grew up with mag lights and the little replaceable bulbs and the 2D cell battery flashlights. Go look it up, kids. But still, then you see something like this, which is outclassing most car headlights, and it's just like, wow. Okay. Wow. So, to me, that's what's great, is that this guy can put out 10,000 lumens! And that's pretty impressive. On the bad side, to start with, for some people, this is going to be bad. I don't mind. There are no disco modes here, so you have no strobe, no SOS, no none of that. I don't care, but whatever, it's a thing. Next thing, this is on the larger side. I'll pull out my ruler here, and we can take a look. This guy comes in around 4¼ inches or so long. We are coming in about an inch or so thick, and we are coming in about a little more than 1.5 inches in terms of your overall width. So this is not tiny. It is also relatively heavy. This guy is coming in at low. Is my scale battery low? Is that what's going on here? Is this my life? It is. All right. Well, the manufacturer website says 8.7 ounces, so we'll just go ahead and trust them on that. Just saying, I didn't need batteries. Anyways, so there you go. Next thing on the bad side, 10,000 lumens. Really? Really, guys? Really? You put that? Like, I feel like the marketing team, like, put that on as a joke and then never changed it again before they sent it to production. Okay, whatever. That's a thing. And then finally on the bad side, this guy heats right up. Let's grab a piece of paper here, and we will go on ahead and see if we can start a fire with this guy. Here we go. Paper. Nice Rhodia dot pad. Holy crap, is that bright. And do we have any smoke? No, hey, okay. So it didn't start a fire, but that's also because this is white paper. Okay. Anyways, it really heats way up. At the very, very least, this guy is an excellent head warmer, and I'm not even kidding about that. I don't particularly need that now that I'm here, but still, I can see somebody in the northern latitudes being interested in that as an option. So it does heat way, way, way up, and especially if you're in the 10,000 lumen, I'm sorry, I mispronounced it, mode, or if you're holding it in the high mode for a good while, it definitely does heat up. Not a huge deal, not quite as dangerous as some, but it's definitely a thing. So that's the bad to me, is that it heats its way up. It is 10,000 lumens written on the side of it. It is heavy, it is big, and there are no disco modes, which might bother some folks. On the ugly front, okay, so this is a USB-C charging port in the back here. And I know what you're thinking. Oh, Nick, that's amazing. Many of my most recent devices charge over USB-C. But the thing is, it's very likely that things like your laptop, things like your tablet, or in many cases, pretty much anything but a cell phone is going to be charging using what's called the USB-C power delivery spec, USB-C PD. This is a very good spec. It works quite nicely for charging bigger devices. Unfortunately, it does not charge this. So what you would have to do is use a conventional USB-C charger, rather than the one you've already got, for instance, for a laptop or something like that, and plug into that rather than using the USB-C charger that you already have perhaps around. Now, look, I get that USB-C is not consistent, that it is not easy yet, but I really would like to see more flexibility in something like this. I'd like to be able to see this have the machinery on board to be able to talk to a power delivery charger. That way it just makes it even more frictionless. And this is one of the times the troubles we're going to face with USB-C. Is for a while people are going to be like, well, the port fits, but it doesn't freaking work, because they don't know that there are differences among these things. So I would really like to see them address that and make sure that all of their future USB-C lights are able to charge from any USB-C rather than just a dumb USB-C sort of device. Although this does support Quick Charge 2.0, whatever the heck that is. So keep that in mind. Then finally, on the ugly front, this guy uses a 21700 battery inside there, which is actually mostly used in rechargeable cars, interestingly. However, it is done in such a way that it is welded in. It cannot be replaced or swapped by the user. I gather you would remove remove the clip screws there, and pop this out. But then they've soldered it in some way or another. They argue on the website that this is an engineering solution, that they do that very specifically so that they can increase the capacity and such that they can get enough voltage across the gaps, so to speak, to really power the 10,000 lumens. But the thing is, that's not great. They also say that they will swap the battery for you if it ever goes bad at a Nitecore service center. But that's a long trip away, and I would much rather just be able to buy another 21700 battery in there, or an 18650. I mean, and you also lose the ability to swap your battery if you have a long night shift or something like that. And so that's really not amazing. I'm not a big fan of non-user replaceable batteries. Mind you, for these kinds of really big torches, this tends to be the thing anyways. This is the X7R Marauder from Olight, and it has a similar issue, unfortunately, but still, not a big fan of the fact that you can't swap this guy's battery at home. And then finally, on the ugly front, this is really expensive. This is a $300 flashlight from the retail price. Now, look, $300 is an absolutely fine price, presuming that it comes with a $100 bill tucked right here. But unfortunately, I did not have that $100 bill when I purchased it. Given I bought it secondhand, maybe he took it. I don't know. But look, that's a really high price. I can see $200 for this. Okay, I guess. But it's higher than, for instance, the Olight X7R Marauder here, which comes in around $275. $300 is really steep. I don't expect them to sell a whole lot of these guys at that price point. They need to get that cost down, and I know that they're pushing the boundaries here, and this is a really cool piece, but $300? Yowza. Especially with the non-swappable battery. So that price is ugly, flat out. I'd like to see this coming in closer to $2, if not cheaper than that. You're way far up the curve of diminishing returns here. So that's the ugly here. It is $300, and it doesn't appear to include a $100 bill right under there. It has a non-swappable battery, even though that battery is of a standard format, and it does not charge from USB-C power delivery, which is problematic. Final conclusion on this guy. This is a really neat light. I got this guy thinking, okay, I'll pick one up for a review, and then I'll send it back to the guy, and then I actually started carrying it and using it, and I kind of like it. It's stupid. It's ridiculous. I don't know that I recommend this light, but it is really kind of neat. And it's been very easy for me to drop this guy into the pocket for a quick nighttime walk. Because it's heavy, certainly, but it's not so crazy heavy. It's not, one of these guys. It's not, and frankly, it's a lot more carryable. It's compact enough to carry in a reasonable way. I wouldn't want to be doing this if I were doing ultralight backpacking, but you know what? The difference between carrying something like this and something like this is not so substantial. In practice, it doesn't really bother me. And it puts out good enough light for the long haul regularly. I can do 1,000 lumens for 2 hours. That's pretty serious, but if you need it, you also possess the brightest light source in the immediate vicinity, which is occasionally helpful. If you see something in the bushes, you fire up your turbo, you got 10 seconds to figure out what the heck that's about, and then it'll drop back down to the high mode, which is also quite high too. So, and this is, there's an element of neatness to it more than anything, but I have enjoyed carrying this. And so as a result, I did end up buying it off the guy who sent it to me because I think it is a neat piece. Unfortunately, though, it is also heavy. It is also a little bit on the bigger side. It is obnoxiously marketed 10,000 lumens. The USB-C charging is still in need of some standardization. It's going to need a trip home to Nitecore when the battery dies, and it's $300, which is just a lot. So, unfortunately, where do I land on this for you? Do I recommend this? It's cool, but not unless you get a screaming deal on it. I ended up picking it up because I did get a very good deal on it. My buddy Paul was really, really helpful in terms of getting me a good price on this, because like I said, he got it as a gift, and so he was willing to be a generous human about that. I appreciate that very much. And so I picked it up because it brings me some joy. I mean, that's where I have to put this, is like, I like this light because it amuses the hell out of me. To have 10,000 lumens in my pocket is absolutely, it's also great for charging the Lume on watches, by the way. Oh yeah, that's going to be charged for like 2 days now. It's not how Lume works, I know. But anyways, so it amuses me, and it's absolutely neat, but it wouldn't be my choice, I think, for most people who just come to me and say, hey, Nick, I want a flashlight. That's probably not it. Because frankly, you can buy 4 really good lights for the price of one of these guys. And if you're willing to put up with a slightly bigger form factor, you can get like the ThruNite TC20 here, which is an absolutely great light for, like I said, you can get like 3 of those for the price of this. A bunch of ThruNite neutrons, which are just almost as good for most people's everyday lives. So I don't know. But that said, so I probably don't widely recommend it. But even if it isn't a great choice for most people, I think it is absolutely a very neat thing. It is a solid light, and it is it's a fun gadget. I buy this for the same reason that I bought a bunch of crap at Shopper Image when they were still a thing. Not because I need it, not because, oh my God, a keychain organizer with a light bulb and an alarm on it? Wow, I don't need this, but my God, it's kind of cool. And given that I got a good price on it, it seemed like a reasonable thing for me to have. It also shows us, I think, that the days of the tubular flashlight are kind of on the way. Some of these candy bar style lights are really doing better and better and better each day, and they have the advantage of pocketability in a way that something like this or like this never will. And so I really do hope in the future that we see more things in this kind of a form factor out there. And I think it's also evidence that his emitters and batteries and thermal management keeps improving. Well, you're going to continue seeing crazy things like 10,000 lumens from flashlights. I think that's a really exciting time. And so that may be the biggest thing that we can take away from this light, is that this one here is ridiculous in many, many ways and ridiculously priced. But it may be a sign of what's to come in the flashlight market with all of these various features here. And if that's the case, that idea is absolutely lighting up my life. So anyways, there you go. Hope this has been interesting to you, and have yourselves just an absolutely wonderful rest of your day. 10,000 lumens! Bye now.